233 Let's talk to Tommy, who's in Glasgow. Top of the morning to you, Tommy.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. What would you like to say?
So in a couple of weeks I will be able to celebrate big time when obviously Talksport give up the ghost and just go totally brainwash and brain dead sport really.
That's not precisely how it's going to be done, but thank you for your point.
So there will be no talk of banking cabals anymore or current affairs. I mean, if there's to be a news topical event that is happening in the streets of London like a riot, you won't talk 1 second about it or do the cover-up ever again?
No, I don't think that would be the case, no. If there was a significant news event going on, I'm sure it would be covered.
But it has to be. So if I phone in 2 weeks' time and start talking about taxation and fiscal foreign policy and such like, how long will I be getting then? Will you just be saying, thanks, Tommy?
Not very long, yeah. Not very long, I think.
Right. That's brilliant, mate. Then that's just a victory. That's a victory celebration because finally, mate, you have gave up the ghost. Your station hasn't got the homos. It's not got the cojones for a proper fight. Obviously, the brainwashing of the masses has to take on a new, higher level.
Yeah, that's obviously figured very high in the decision. Yeah.
Well, it's quite possibly, Michael, because the dumbing
well, no,
down.
It isn't. No, it's got nothing to do with that. I appreciate that everything is a conspiracy to you, but in this particular case, there's no conspiracy. The decision has just been made that a 24-hour sports station makes more sense for all sorts of reasons. It's nothing to do with shutting down conversation or closing down opinion.
No, but I think that you'll find. Give me some decent time, since it's going to be one of the last times I'm allowed.
Oh, don't give me all that cobblers. It's been one of the last times you've ever going to call for about a year.
No, well, obviously this is the finality of it now. The fact that you'll be talking wall-to-wall sports. Well, c'est la vie. If that is the way the station is chosen, I'm more than happy because obviously you're going to sing your lyrics and say, oh, it's nothing to do with that, Tommy. But when I know full well that now the world faces meltdown on an epic scale with the...
Well, the world has been facing meltdown on an epic scale for years, according to you. Ever since you and I have been talking, the world has been facing meltdown on an epic scale.
Oh, of course. Well, has it not? Look what's happening in the Middle East just now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that different, is it? I mean, as 1 year passes into the next, it's not that different.
Not that different?
No, I mean, 10 years ago, right, it was, almost wartime in the Middle East. There's been wars in the 90s in the Middle East. There'll be wars, no doubt, in the next 10 years.
Hold on, Michael. I've been a historical revisionist. British jackbooted troops stormtrooped her all the way through, raped, massacred and pillaged Iraq.
No, they didn't. They didn't do any of those things.
Well, to your estimate, 100,000 people were killed and that wasn't doing anything.
100,000 people were not killed by British troops.
Well, the fact that they were killed and lying there dead because British jackboots walked into the country.
Not true at all.
Okay, then tell me then the British troops that had to be freed out of an Iraqi prison, there were British troops dressed in Arab regalia with weapons in the back of their truck to start World War III, rocket launchers and
Special Forces guys you're talking about.
Yeah, the Special Forces dressed as Arabs.
Well, they do dress as Arabs so that they're not spotted. It's not very smart to walk around in British Army uniform, is it, if you're in the Special Forces?
So the fact that on a yearly basis, a nightly basis for the last few years, this is why I'm celebrating, because now you're going to be neutered like a little doggy, right? Because you'll realise, well,
I'm very happy for you.
No, Michael, well, because it's the truth.
You're going to be neutered as well, unfortunately, though, aren't you?
No, because I've got my own radio platform.
I know you have, but nobody listens to it, though.
But listen, Michael, patronise me if you like. The fact is that your job there, right, where you're part of the brainwashing of the people, or try to do anyway, has come to an end, because to talk about sports, now you can paper it up and dress up as you like, right? Your job there is to give a certain news agenda, a viewpoint across, and your paymasters, your second paymasters, who you'll always make a joke and a laugh about, but you have in the past admitted it on here that you have been approached and you've been in the prime job candidacy for any Secret Service who wanted anybody in the media and everybody in the media.
I never said I was approached by the Secret Service.
You said, don't you lie? You said
I did not.
You said you were approached.
No, I did not.
Someone came to you. Someone came to you, and you denied that. You said
no. I said that I think that perhaps I was approached. No, I think I said
someone asked you.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Lie again.
It's not true.
No,
it's not what I said. No, what I said to you. What I said. No, I didn't.
That someone came to you.
No, your brain has been addled over the years too much, and you've forgotten what was actually said. What I said was that there was one instance when I was invited to the Foreign Office, right? When I went for drinks to meet the guys in the Foreign Office, and I thought at that time, I wonder if they're tapping me up to be a spook.
No,
that was what I thought.
Someone spoke to you. You said someone spoke to you, and you were asked about it and quizzed about it.
No, that never happened.
Yes, well,
that never happened. You must be thinking of something. You were confusing me with somebody else.
The bottom line is, Michael, that being a journalist is a prime candidate for Secret Service.
That's true. In some instances, yeah.
And doing what you've been doing for the last few years. That's why when you're not going to be allowed to talk about it, I question how long you're going to be doing the sports, whether you're going to be capable or happy at doing it. And personally, as someone who spoke to you, I don't think that you're going to be happy with it. If you're going to stick it out and do it, and fair play to you, and if the station goes with it and is happy to go that way, then fair play. I am more than happy for the station to take that stance because, as I say, in the condition of the planet and the country, where you say there's nothing wrong with this country.
Right? I didn't say there's nothing wrong with this country. Why do you keep misquoting me?
Well, you said there's no meltdown. You said,
I said it's not any different. It's not any different from how it's always been.
How many houses are getting built, and how many people are living in properties of negative equity, and how many people are facing personal insolvency? Those rates are through the roof. And
that's because people overextended themselves and they got involved in buying properties that they couldn't afford to buy, and they shouldn't have got involved in.
Now, the slant that you gave there is all well and good, but then the other part that you selective amnesia forgets is that banks were only too willing to give credit and extend it to everyone. Look at the TV adverts, look at the amount of literature pushed through people's doors, and if you walked into a bank, they would throw money at you
that's
like
true.
You would never believe.
Well, we're not ciphers, If somebody throws money at you, you don't have to take it, do you?
But hold on, so what I would suggest to all the listeners, you heard how Michael tried to portray it, saying all the people who went there and borrowed money when there was predatory banking. It's been well established and it's been well noted that the predatory banking practice, okay, let's look at the fact that how self-certified mortgages became the rigueur, the norm, where people would say, I'm earning this amount, and the bank took
and that helped a lot of people. That helped a lot of people to get into the property market, yeah.
And then at the top of the bubble in 2007, where people were saying, we're earning this amount, we're earning that amount, give us a house at 200,000. Yeah, there's your house at 200,000. Your house at 200,000, your wee lovely yuppie flat is maybe worth 100 or 120,000. So negative equity has sunk the housing market, has crippled the housing market in this country that you would never believe. And we based our whole economy on people buying more houses, rising land prices, and consumer credit.
And the bubble burst.
And Mikey says there's no problem.
I'm not saying there's no problem. I'm saying there's always been problems. I'm saying it's not any worse than it's ever been. It's always been bad. There's always been something to worry about. There's always been some crisis or other. You've been banging on about a crisis for the rest of the world.
Please?
Well, hurry up.
The last thing I wanted to say was, Michael, the point I made at the start and the whole way through this was it's very convenient that at a time when Britain faces meltdown in the population, a unique way to collectivise and gather their thoughts and opinions and spread their ideas and collectivise, it has been shut down. But it doesn't matter because the old media is dead. The new media has started. The revolution will happen on Twitter.
Yes, I'm sure it will, Tommy. Thank you very much indeed for your call. That was from the man who said he was never going to call the show 23344. Let's talk to Tommy, who's in Glasgow. Top of the morning to you, Tommy.